Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a juicy tale of petty revenge on a friend. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. My always late ex-friend. A few years ago, I, 22-year-old female, had a friend, Alex, 24-year-old female, who was always late. She was always the kind of person who'd tell you, "I'm on my way," when she was not, in fact, on her way. That one trait of hers caused me quite a lot of inconvenience. One time, we both were invited to a surprise birthday party for our mutual friend. Clearly written on the invitation was something along the lines of, "Be sure to arrive at 6 p.m., don't be late or you'll miss the surprise." Come the day of the party, she and I had agreed to meet at my house and drive over together. Around 5 p.m., I asked her when she'd be at my place. She told me she'd be there around 5:30, which was great because the party was around 30 minutes away. At 5:30, I called her to ask where she was. She told me she hadn't even left yet, then promised that she would be there in 5 minutes. I figured that was okay because she lived fairly close by. Long story short, she ended up getting to my house at 6. I was mad, we left immediately and made it to the party around 6:30. By that time, the surprise had obviously taken place and the party was in full swing. I mentioned to her that I was really bothered that she'd been late. Not only that, but she'd strung me along and lied to me and prevented me from being on time. She responded by saying things like, "It's not that big a deal, and we were only 30 minutes late, and don't be so dramatic." At that point, I was sick of her being late and her attitude. Being late, lying, and downplaying someone's feelings are all rude, so I went to a nearby steakhouse and took a gift card without putting any money on it. I wrote $30 on the card and gave it to her a few days later, telling her it was a random gift for being my friend. A few days after that, I got a text from her asking if I was sure I activated the card. I told her yes, I was sure, and asked her why she was asking. She responded by saying she'd gone to the restaurant with some friends without her purse and tried to use the gift card, but it wasn't working. It was at that point that I gave myself away by responding with, "Oops, I guess I was wrong," and "It's not that big a deal," and "You're only $30 short." She immediately picked up on what I was doing, and I proceeded to receive a few angry texts about how embarrassed she was and how rude and disrespectful I was for doing that. All of this because I was a few minutes late, blah, blah, blah. I simply responded with, "So you're saying if I tell you one thing and then do another and it directly impacts your life in a negative way, that's disrespectful? And if you get mad at me for it and I downplay your feelings, that's rude? Am I understanding you correctly?" She didn't respond. I found out later that none of her friends were willing or able to cover her dinner, so she had to stay about 30 minutes later for her parents to rescue her. We didn't talk much after that. Hopefully, she learned a valuable lesson. I sure had a great time teaching it. And our second story. Unsatisfied customer. Not my petty revenge, but my husband's. An infamous online retailer switched from a standard courier service to their own courier crew in our area. After that, parcels were not delivered properly. The delivery drivers would just leave parcels in front of doors right at a busy street, increasing the chance of them getting stolen. Him and our neighbors displayed their dismay to the online retailer, but nothing was done. Well, our old courier service offers delivery to one of their parcel terminals. However, the next parcel terminal was too far away, so he decided to contact the courier service and offered them some space on our property to place a parcel terminal, which they were happy to do. This not only forces the online retailer to use the old courier service, which probably cost them more money, and bonus, he actually gets money from the courier service since the terminal is on our property. He took a parcel of their profit. And our third story. But you promised! I sell, return, or overstock electronics like headphones, stereo systems, speakers, smart home equipment at a flea market with my parents. I go to university and I, unfortunately, lost my scholarship during COVID and I had to pay full-price tuition. Normally, it isn't much of an issue since the state university I go to isn't very expensive. However, because of recent unfortunate events, I was about to miss a payment of my tuition. In order to pay on time, I lowered most of my prices, making barely any profit. One of the items that I was selling at a lowered price is Beats Studio Buds. I usually sell them for around $90 to $100. This week, I was selling them for $70. Since my price was very good, they all almost sold out. I brought around 15 of them, and I had like 3 of them left after 2 hours. An older lady and her grandson, who looked around 17 or 18, came to my stand. I saw her grandson's eyes glow when he saw the Beats. He asked me if they were original, and I told him yes, and I showed him the serial number and showed him how to go to Apple's warranty check to prove authenticity and how many months of warranty it has left. He asked me how much they were, and I told him they're $70. He asked me why they were so cheap and asked if there was anything wrong with them. I explained my situation, and he understood. He was about to buy them, but his grandma stopped him and told him they were too expensive and the ones she got for him were more than enough. He had fake AirPods. He argued with her, saying they don't sound good and my headphones were really good for the price. I wanted to make the sale and showed her they were $150 on Amazon. She asked if I can do $50 for the headphones, and I told her no, and I was barely making any profit right now. She said no headphone is worth $70. Every customer who can't get a deal from me says this, and I was scamming them. Grandson told her to stop and said, "I'm buying with my own money," but she got really mad at him at that point and started yelling at him in Spanish. He asked, when do I leave and if I have any social media. I gave him my offer up, and I told him I have more headphones there and told him to hit me up if he likes something. I felt super embarrassed at that point and felt really sorry for the grandson. They left after a few minutes. In the next few hours, I saw her multiple times looking at my stand with her side eye. Is that the correct term? It was finally 5 p.m. and I started to pack up and help my dad. She saw me putting the headphones away and rushed to my stand. The following conversation goes. Old lady, I see that you couldn't sell the headphones. I'll buy them for $40 since you couldn't sell them. Me, with a grin on my face, oh, this one's just an empty box I put on the stand to attract people. There are a lot of thieves, so I don't put the headphones in the stand, just the empty boxes. I'm out of those headphones. Old lady, how could you do this to us? You promised you knew how much my grandson wanted them. Me, if he wanted them so much and you actually cared, you would have let him buy those. I showed you their price on Amazon and how good of a deal they were. You were just mad that I didn't accept your stupid price. I thought it'd be over at that point and she'd leave. Oh boy, was I wrong. I started to put all the headphones in the box quickly, but somehow she saw that I had Beats Power Beats Pro, which I sell for $140, sealed. Old lady, since you already betrayed us, can you do $40 for those to make up for your mistake? Me, laughing, no ma'am, I sell those for $140. At that point, my dad was curious and asked me what happened. I told him that we have another choosing beggar, and he sighed. I called my dad Baba, which means father in my native tongue, and I guess she knew that meant father or just assumed he was my father and started to rush him. Old lady, your son's a liar. He promised he'd sell those headphones for $50, but he sold them before I could buy one. At that point, I thought I was doomed because my father always takes the customer's side, saying we make money off them and we don't get to be the choosers. But I saw a dangerous anger in his eyes. Father, don't you dare call my son a liar. We sell those for $90. There's no way in hell he'd let you buy those for $50. I don't want your money. Go. She left and we continued packing up and left. Thanks for reading my story, and again, sorry about the formatting. Off-topic question. If I'm showing an individual a pair of headphones, do I say headphone or headphones? And is it or they/them? Update. The grandson came to buy the last one and thanked me. I believe headphones is correct, as they have 2 speakers. I remember the single ones being called monophones back in the day, and they only had 1 speaker for 1 ear. And our last story. Brand new manager tries to fire me. Let's see how this ends. I'm a 100% disabled vet, but I still wanted to work for as long as I can. I worked in a large company that contracted to many of the big oil companies. For years, I had excellent reviews and the customers loved me. My manager got promoted and one of my coworkers became the newly promoted manager. He started out fine, but then as he went through management training, he became the boss people hate. He was trying to flex his muscles by using all the usual tricks of setting you up to fail in order to fire me and a couple others. Why? I have no idea. One day at work, I had a major medical emergency that left the right half of my body with no feeling at all, completely numb. That took me out of the office for several weeks while they used steroids to try and help sort out the issue. A couple of months and an MRI and spinal tap later, they discovered I had multiple sclerosis. After I was diagnosed, he decided to pull me out of the customer site and have me work in the office. My job had zero office work. I spent nearly a year in the office getting paid to do stupid, mind-numbing BS while he tried to figure out a way to fire me. Since the initial issue was medical, it proved to be very difficult, so he'd try to assign me to long-term duties like 6 months, hundreds of miles from home, knowing I couldn't do them. He was also nitpicking any menial task I didn't perform to his liking. He knew I couldn't travel as I have to see several doctors every month and I could only refill medications from my local VA clinic. While he was trying to fire me, I was talking to HR about my disability and how it's obvious that I could no longer perform my job for safety concerns. That was the reason my boss pulled me into the office. I also informed HR about how the manager treated me and several other employees. They had me do several things, including sending my medical records to a company medical doctor to make sure I was being honest, I assume. In the end, HR decided to put me out on pre-approved early retirement with short and long-term disability. Now I'll get paid from the company till I'm 67, all before he could get to the chance of firing me. Additionally, several other workers quit around the same time as me, and a short time after I left, he was replaced by a different coworker. Thanks, boss. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.